Hello and welcome to the Milford Finance Committee, March 21st, 2019. First item on the agenda, the approval of the February 13th, 2019 minutes.
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, second by Jack. All those in favor? Unanimous. Second, the approval of the January 9th meeting. I forgot at the last meeting to do those. So if I have a motion to accept the January 9th meetings. Motion by Mike, second by Andy. All those in favor? Unanimous. All right, subcommittee reports. One of the big ones we're going to skip again because the chairman is not here and he wanted to talk about that. So do I have any other subcommittee reports?
Library?
Mr. Nicholson? Yeah, we got library.
Okay, yeah, we did meet with the library, just kind of recapping. I did send out minutes on that, but for a verbal recap, this year's budget was around $1,257,000. To meet the municipal appropriation requirement for 2020, which is a requirement that the library has to meet in order to get state funding, they had to move up to $1,277,000, about a 1.6% increase, around $20,000. We recommended, the subcommittee recommended that they go to that MAR number, which was an increase, but we said, we'll consider that as level funding because it's a requirement that they had to meet anyway. However, the library stood by their number of $1,292,000. That was a 2.8% increase. But involved in that was a general expense increase of around 8%, 8.3%, around $20,000. And we had discussions about this general expense number because of the percentage more than the dollars. And they really stood firm, and we reached an impasse on bringing down that general expense number closer percentage-wise to level funding or close to it. So as a result, as I said, there was an impasse on that, and the subcommittee voted unanimously unfavorable on the budget as presented by them because of them not bringing down that general expense number at all. So as a result, with our unfavorable vote, we propose that the library come by, schedule them in on a general FinCom meeting, present their case, and let the FinCom decide if we want to accept that or not.
That's perfect. Just what we want to do.
All right?
Okay. Aldo?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as you know, I'm new to the public safety, this as a
Yep.
chairperson. So I spoke with the fire chief, and as usual, these two people have their budgets right in line, so there's really never a problem with it. I scheduled a meeting, and I apologize to anyone else that's on this committee, but I scheduled a meeting for Tuesday at 2 o'clock at the police station. It'll be posted. I see nothing wrong, having received both of their budgets, I see nothing wrong with it. The only thing we're gonna have to discuss relative to the fire department is the possibility of putting public safety equipment in there. Because right now, everybody is very concerned with what happens with firefighters when they come back from a call and they have on their breakout gear, whatever was in the building. And I think statistics will show that firefighters are more susceptible to cancer than the general public. So in talking with the chief, there's going to be some consideration asked for with regards to how we treat that dilemma for our department. I don't know what he has planned yet, so we haven't had an opportunity to talk about it. So that will be coming in. As I assured the fire chief, since they're still in negotiations, that if they don't come up with a number before town meeting, we're going to have to do exactly what, we'll recommend you do exactly what we've done with all the other departments. Approve the budget at the town meeting that we have, and when and if they conclude the negotiations, we've generally backfilled that at the town meeting. So that's more than likely what's gonna happen. So, with all that said, next meeting, I would hope to have the final numbers from those two departments.
Great. And just as a heads up to you, Aldo, I had the opportunity to sit down with the selectmen, the finance director, town accountant, and Mr. Villani on a roundtable discussion on Monday night. And I would hope you can get as much attendance as possible when speaking with the fire chief, because he has several initiatives They're gonna be quite substantial, that I think that you guys really need to vet,
All
so.
right, this is the first I've heard of it.
Well, it's happened on Monday, and it's the first time I'm seeing you, so.
There's no question about it, and from what I've read, there's something that we cannot we cannot deal with, we need to deal with it.
Yeah.
We can't just ignore it because we're asking people to do a dangerous job, and we've got to ensure the opportunity that they'll come out of it, and come out of it as a,
Absolutely, and he's got a great presentation of what they're looking for, as well as some staffing, possible
I've had
staffing
occasion to
increase.
see some of them in a few other departments
Mm-hmm.
with the showers and the equipment for cleaning their breakout gear and so forth and so on.
Yep.
Fine, hopefully it's pretty soon.
No, safety's paramount, especially in that department where we've seen such an uptick in sickness and cancer.
Yeah.
And I will not put a Milford person in harm's way for
Through the
money.
years, we've always been fair and honest with our first, people that come first responders, particularly fire,
Yep.
particularly police, about safety gear. And this is not gonna be any different.
No, they run the other way when we're running out of the building, so.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Any other subcommittee reports? I know everybody was still, the budgets were still coming in late, so I knew that we weren't gonna get a lot, but if anyone hadn't already met, wanted the opportunity.
We had a meeting last Thursday, and
General government.
general government.
Yep.
It went quite well. The first pass at this budget was 2% total. We're not done with it yet, though. We've got some things we need to, we start adding people, and I think we have a process that Zach had set up about a procedure to add any kind of person. We gotta go through the process, go through the due diligence, go back to the personnel board, get the position approved by the personnel board, and then we gotta go to the human resources director and find out what kind of due diligence we need to find out if, in fact, from that standpoint, we really need to do that. And the numbers in that area weren't as presented, so
Okay, great. So
we're gonna,
you're always on top of it, Jerry, so.
thank you, but I must say, the general government pieces, they're very, very cooperative.
Yeah.
Very, very cooperative and very cognizant, aware of where each and every dollar is needed, spent, and utilized. So I'm very pleased. After 2 or 3 years, it's almost on remote control. I should not say that, because something will blow up before I can get home tonight.
They're scared of Mr. Valani, that's why. Any other subcommittee reports, guys?
Want me to highlight the school then?
Why don't we save it?
Save it, okay.
All right, next item on the agenda, the town treasurer. I wanted Chris to come in. He's got several things concerning the debt schedule that he wanted to present to us. We don't have our computers, because Mr. Abundance's got the key, so thank you. We got handouts.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think.
Oh, wow.
We got a lot of debt, Jack.
Use a bigger type font, will you? What do you think we are?
Is that on purpose?
Yeah. The numbers look smaller when you use those smaller fonts, you know what I mean?
What the hell do you
You
think?
start missing the commas.
Change the margins, make it. He's a nice guy, that's why it's not nice to give him a little bit of a rub on.
All right, Chris, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, I had the opportunity to meet with my subcommittee for the debt portion last Friday, or actually yesterday, excuse me. We went over the debt. The debt's going down about $160,000 overall. The majority of that is interest. The first page that you see in front of you is a breakout of this year's debt service payments. And it's about $5,245,924. So we are
Still looks
we are
good.
dropping off. No debt will come due this year. So those payments will kind of stay similar. If you flip to the next page, the 13-year schedule. The 13-year schedule pretty much breaks it out each year each fiscal year, how the debt's gonna go down. So if you look fiscal '20, the total is the 5,246,000. Next year, it will actually be at 5,042,000, so we'll decrease by 203,000. As we talked about at a previous finance committee meeting and in the chairmanship's meetings, the difference between each year's debt service, we're trying to move into stabilization. We all know that there are talks about several large projects. So this will just help us sustain doing those.
And I think that's a great idea and a great policy, yeah.
If you look at the last page, which is the entire debt schedule, and I apologize for it being small.
You trying to save ink?
Small debt, or small schedule?
Small schedule. So we'll have pretty substantial debt going on for the next 10 years. But in 2033, the only debt that we'll pretty much have is the Woodland School project and the Geriatric Authority. And we all know the Geriatric Authority is reimbursed by that commission. So we'll just have the Woodland School going forward, and that actually finishes up in fiscal 2036. And then at that point on, the only debt we'll have is Geriatric
Where's that
Authority.
on here?
Excuse me?
You say the Woodland my report says the Woodland project ends in
2036.
2025. Woodland renovation.
No, all the way at the bottom, it says Woodland School, that's 20, should say a balance of 23 million.
1.4 million per year. It's the last one on the list.
Okay.
Right before you get to schedule number 3, right above the total line,
Okay.
that's the big Woodland School project. The other one was
Okay.
a smaller,
Small print makes it
Yeah.
impossible
Is that
to
on the old
read.
Woodland School?
sorry?
The Woodland renovation, was that on the old Woodland School?
Yeah, and that's, that actually just has a small balance. It's
Yeah.
18,000 left. We actually refunded that and paid off the majority of that last year. But the way the bonding goes, you have to call them in multiples of 10. And so that was the leftover of it. So that's spread out over the next couple of years at 3,000 each year. So that's debt, pretty much in a nutshell.
Refunding opportunities?
As of now, we looked at a few refunding loans out there. The rates are, on the current loans, are right around the low to mid threes. So to refund it right now is not a good
Not
time.
favorable.
We're actually getting more if we put into stabilization or into
So we're playing the arbitrage game.
Yep.
So we're making more by keeping it in our stabilization fund
yeah.
than going out and try to refund.
Pretty, I don't have the sheet here, but there's another sheet I have that gives all the rates on the loans. I can put it up on the drive so you guys can take a look at it, but we're right around the high threes in mostly every loan, so there's not much
Yeah,
as
with-
an average.
With the past couple of years of us cleaning up all that high interest stuff, really, we're at the bottom where, like you say, most of the stuff, it's not
Yeah.
worth moving.
So, I mean, other than a few high interest rates coming up for the Woodland School project that we just bonded, there's not much we can do.
So this bodes well to proceed with the Milford Water Company acquisition as these things start to fall off. This is gonna actually work well.
Yep.
Because as we take on more bonding, we're gonna be actually eliminating bonding at the same time.
Yep.
So it should bode very well to move forward with that.
But this also doesn't incorporate other debt that we're anticipating rolling out over the next
Absolutely.
year.
Oh, yeah.
This is we currently have a total outstanding bond balance of 48 million, right? Am I reading that right?
Yep.
Aldo?
Yes, may I just ask, I don't know if you can do this, but where you have the woodland renovation, could you identify that as the old woodland
Absolutely.
as opposed to the new woodland? Because when I looked at that, I said, what did we renovate? We just built it. So
I can make that.
if we can do that, so that maybe 10 years down the road, none of us are sitting around this table and it'll at least be self-explanatory.
Sure, I
This says
can do that.
payment, this says,
How many years?
You're not gonna be here in 2036 to explain it, Aldo?
Sir?
You're not gonna be here in 2036 to explain it?
Oh, that's absolutely right, yes.
So, does anyone else have any questions for Chris? I really wanted to come in because to me, debt service is such an important piece to the puzzle for everything that happens in our town, whether we are gonna spend it with free cash or whether we are gonna borrow for it. And it's a very fine line on, whether we do either one, depending on what our debt service numbers are. So I just wanted to have him come in and give us these numbers just for you guys, for your absorption. And like I said, we've been very good, and Chris has been excellent about getting those high-interest bonds that we've had in the past and paying those off with when we've had that free cash totals in the past that have been higher, and to not just spend that money on something, but to actually bring down that debt service, which puts us in the good position that we are now, that if we need to borrow in the future, we have that ability. Jeff?
Mr. Chairman, and Chris, thank you for this. What happens when we have to do like Godfrey Brook and the other water projects we have to do, and, those big ticket items, where they go?
Right here.
They'll go right here, right?
Yep, exactly.
And they're not here, so to your point and to Andy's point, that's where we are now, but there's more coming.
Yeah.
This sheet is never empty.
If this
never
sheet was
ends.
empty, we'd be golden.
I think that's important for people to realize. It's
You
like,
get this font any smaller and we won't have anything on there.
But that's good that it's not empty, though, quite
Oh,
honestly.
yeah, you always want to have debt.
Because
That is, yeah.
that means we're alive and
Yeah.
well, and we're doing
We're
projects.
doing
and
projects,
we're-
exactly.
We're improving the quality of life here. I'm not,
Yeah.
it's just that we gotta manage it.
Oh,
so-
absolutely.
So it doesn't,
Yeah.
then overwhelm us.
Yep, and that's why Chris's
that-
office is doing a great job with
So
that.
we know, so this is great. I mean, but I just hope everybody understands, this is long-term stuff. This is,
Does anything else for Chris on debt schedule?
I just have a quick question, and you may or may not recall. Do you know what our debt service was before we put Woodland online? Was it about 3.5 million, 4 million?
that's in last
Recall.
year's report.
Yeah, I don't have it here. I would say it was right around 3.5 million.
I think that's what we set for the limit, so I think it was, it was pretty close to that. So I'd say that that's a good guess.
So around 2027 will be, if, assuming nothing else goes on, that's where we'll return to that level.
Actually, by 2022, you'll be at 3.8 after the geriatric reimbursement.
No, total. I'm saying it's total, including the interest
Including-
payments.
Yep. So if you look at the top part,
Looking
number
at the
one.
13-year schedule.
All right, go to the next sheet, the back sheet, it says debt schedule on it. Number one, it says summary of net debt service. That breaks out everything, so it has your principal, your interest, your total P&I, your total P&I for the general fund, the sewer, the geriatric reimbursement, and then your net debt service. So if you look, our total P&I for fiscal '20 is $5,246,105. We'll get reimbursements from the sewer and geriatric authority of about $1 million, so it brings it down to $4 million. So if you go over to,
Maybe you can explain then the difference between the 13-year schedule, the total debt at the bottom versus your debt schedule, and summary of net debt service, category 1.
the 13-year schedule doesn't have the geriatric reimbursements
Okay.
included in them. That's your total line item.
Where are you showing the reimbursements on here?
It's on the third page.
On the third page, number one,
Number one, principal.
says
item.
geriatric reimbursement, geriatric
Okay,
authority.
okay, I see it. Again,
Okay, I
okay,
got
can
it.
just barely make out the difference between the parentheses and the.
Well, I'll have Chris put this up on the
Yeah.
drive, and then you guys can use the magnifying glass.
There's an article on the warrant about geriatric as far as reimbursements and all. Does that have anything to do with this?
No, it does not.
No.
That was, had nothing to do with that. That was something that was done at a prior town meeting many years ago, but it did not get to the next stage, which it had to go through the legislature. So we're kind of just correcting something that should have been done a while back. So no, the answer is no.
Does anyone else have any questions on debt service? No, don't move. Want to do Article 8?
That's fine, that's what I was getting.
I saw you were reaching for it, but I wasn't sure if you were grabbing all your stuff or just the warrant.
So Article 8 is, if you recall, in October, we went in front of town meeting, well, I went in front of town meeting to establish payment plans for tax title, for people in tax titles. The Attorney General came back and didn't like the way the article was written, so this is just rewriting the article to meet their needs. They wanted, instead of us saying up to 3 years for a payment plan, they wanted us to have a solid number, so now we are setting a term of 3 years. Everything else remains the same.
We changed one word.
We changed, yeah.
So this was already passed.
It was passed, but we have to re-adopt
Wasn't
it.
approved by the Attorney General.
It wasn't approved by the
Was
attorney.
not, but they gave us clarifying language that we believe will be approved. The prior
So-
language they thought could differentiate
So the
between.
repayment schedule is based on 36 months.
Yep.
And if they pay it up in 24 months, we don't care, right?
Oh, no.
No.
Move favorable, Mr. Chair.
Favorable motion
I'll
by-
second,
By
second.
Aldo, second by Jerry. All those for a favorable recommendation on Article 8? Unanimous.
One
Thank you
down,
very much,
24 to
guys.
go.
That was easy.
He's got some of the recurring ones also.
Oh, okay, great.
So if we-
All right, now, we're gonna go through some of the town meeting articles, just to peck away some of the housekeeping stuff so that we're not doing it next meeting. I do have some that we traditionally do refer to sponsor, and we don't have a discussion about it. But if anyone here has any issue with that, I'll bring them in on a regular meeting. But most of the stuff that I picked out here was, I don't think we should be having conversation on. But if anyone does, I will make sure that the sponsor of those articles come in to clear it up.
You're gonna let him go first, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get to his stuff first, yeah. All right, so guys, warrants were handed out. I apologize, we don't have the computers, but Rick was good enough to copy off all the warrants. You were emailed a warrant by me a couple days ago. There was some small typographical, insignificant stuff that has been sent, and he sent that to me. I did not send you that revised warrant, but it was grammatical stuff. It wasn't anything of any substance. Okay, I will get the new warrant out to you guys tonight when I get home. I'll try to send that out to you. But like I said, it's grammatical stuff. So, all right. I just wrote down numbers. Do you know what yours are?
Mine are all in Article 5.
As,
Oh, that was the first one I was getting.
they're all in
ready.
Article 5.
Perfect,
They're all
yeah,
in
that's. Oh, and you had 8. That's what I wrote down the other one.
We
All right.
approved-
So Article 5. Do you remember? You guys remember? I think it was last town meeting was the first time in which we took the housekeeping articles that were all individual articles. And in order to save time of having the presenters go up and all that time to try to trim down town meeting time, they put them all into one article. And in this, it's Article 5. So why don't we go through them letter by letter? If anyone has any questions, obviously, please feel free to ask Jeff or Rick.
Point, these are the ones we're approving.
Annual recurring
Yeah.
articles.
Nauseam.
Annual recurring.
Jerry's gone now, so I'm calling him housekeeping. He didn't like it. but-
That's correct.
But there's some people here that may not be,
Yeah, absolutely. Nope, that's why we're gonna go over them.
it shouldn't take long to get.
Yep.
Nope.
All right.
You got the first one.
Article 5, Section A. It gives Chris the ability, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, to borrow money from time to time. Obviously, one of the big parts of being a treasurer is the ability to borrow money, so.
It's
Just,
it's limited to a year, so that's all you need
yeah,
to know.
this is
All
actually
you need to
for
know.
anticipation of revenue. So if we were in a cash flow issue and we needed to make payroll or we needed something to clear a deficit, that article allows me to take out a bond less, or a note less than 1 year in anticipation of revenue coming in.
In other words, just to act like a treasurer.
Yeah.
It's one. That's
This is
good.
gonna be quick. I'm gonna bounce between you and Rick, if that's okay, so I'm not just looking here, looking through. Section B, excuse me. The town vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take charge of all legal proceedings for and against the town. Obviously, they're the head of our towns, and
Just need a centralized decision-making.
any questions?
Nope.
C,
It's all set.
C, the Board of Selectmen to expend funds that the town has for parking violations during the fiscal year. Sums of money to pay costs.
It's okay.
Also, any fines that they collect in order to be able to spend that money, so they don't have to go to town meeting to spend that. Any questions? No. Section D, town vote to authorize the town treasurer and/or tax collector to enter into compensating balance agreements or agreements for fiscal year 2020 pursuant to Chapter 44, Section 53F of the general laws.
Anything different is a year change.
Yep, pretty much. Any questions on Section D?
No.
Section E, that the town vote for fiscal year 2020 to authorize any departments to utilize without further appropriation any amounts received from insurance companies or third parties as damages or payments for any damage to town-owned property. This basically, we use the same example. If someone knocks over a telephone pole, we get money from their insurance company, or a street sign, excuse me, we don't own the telephone poles, you can use that money without going to town meeting in order to make any repairs necessary. Any questions? Section F, that the town vote to authorize all persons, boards, or agencies of the town otherwise authorized to contact for on behalf of the town during the fiscal year 2020 to enter into such contracts or agreements for up to 5 years, except those in the case of contracts or agreements dealing with real estate, which may be up to 10 years. This gives the selectmen the ability to negotiate all the contracts they have throughout the year. Everything is limited to 5 years unless the only thing is if they do any real estate transactions, because of, they're probably larger, they have the ability to do those contracts up to 10 years.
Just note that that used to be 3 at one time. That used to be limited to 3. It wasn't, that was changed.
Relatively soon. I was reading that and it did seem,
3, it used to be 3 and it was done, but it's okay.
Well, the general law says 3, and this allows us to go up
Yeah,
to
but
5.
we used to
correct.
follow the general law, right?
But this allows us to, when you got gas contracts, electric
electricity
contracts,
contracts, yeah.
telephone contract,
Gives you
IT
more
type things,
flexibility.
you get better price, longer term, so, yeah.
I did notice that too, Jerry, though. Good eye, because it was always 3.
You gotta remember, when you start granting the elected officials 5 versus 3, that's a very powerful thing to do that. So you just wanna be cognizant of what you're doing here. You just don't automatically do it, but it's okay. We haven't had any problem.
Does anybody have any questions on that?
I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to comment because this is the section that authorizes the selectmen to engage into leases, correct?
Correct.
So I just want to remind everyone about the Purchase Street School, that we want to surplus that building because we're not making any money on it. We're paying all the expenses for roofs and boilers, and the lease payments are only equal up to what they would pay as taxpayers if that building was privately owned. So just wanted to remind everybody that that's the intention.
They could enter into a contract for 10 years in that case.
Yeah, but I know that we're in the process of
Right,
trying to clear up the
wanted
Purchase
to
Street
bring that
situation. No, absolutely.
topic up. When that lease comes up, I'd like to make sure that's an agenda item for this committee.
Okay, seems like we talk about it a lot.
We get involved in these contracts anyway. We always get involved in these contracts because it impacts the budget.
All right, Section G, the town vote to authorize the town treasurer to accept deeds in lieu of foreclosure. Everybody knows about that. We don't want to be property owners. I mean, excuse me, we can take the deed instead of going to foreclosure. Thank you. I meant what I said what I meant. No, I didn't.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
I'd like to jump back to item C. Rick, this has not changed in wording, this is parking fines. That hasn't changed in wording from one year to the next.
No, it is not.
It has no effect no change with the Commissioner on Disability receiving part of the proceeds from the parking.
Oh, no, that still is, yes, absolutely, no change on that at all.
I'd move favorably.
Favorable
as
recommendation
reviewed.
on
If
Article-
nobody has any further questions.
favorable recommendation on Article 5, second by Jeff. All those in favor for a favorable recommendation for Article 5? Excellent.
That's huge, that's
Jerry,
huge.
second by Jeff. Thanks, guys.
Huge progress. That's huge progress on this warrant.
Yeah. All right, guys, now we're gonna get into some other articles, and as I mentioned, if even one person has any questions that we can't clear up, I'll have the proponents come in for it. Article 2, the Personnel Board has sent a memo in with a cost of living adjustment of 2.5% for all Article 2 employees. Been pretty consistent, obviously besides the years we've been talking about the adjustments, and studies and everything, we're back to a 2.5% COLA.
I'll move favorable.
Move favorable by Jerry, second by Aldo. All those in favor? Unanimous. Same thing, Article 3 is a 2.5% cost of living adjustment for the people listed in Article 3.
2.5% cost of living.
COLA, yeah.
Is that exclusive of other raises too?
Well, they'll have steps in, there's only 2 positions there that have it. It would be the highway surveyor and the town clerk. Everyone else is just a stipend position, assessors, parks department,
Okay,
that type of stuff.
okay, I'm sorry, I didn't, yeah. Move favorable.
Favorable motion by Jerry, second by Mike. All those in favor? Unanimous. Nicholson. Anyone here tonight?
Don't try number 4.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to, nothing on 4 yet? All right, Article 6. Al's not here, so I'll call it potato chip money. This gives the ability of the schools to expend any monies that they raise from their vending machines and put that into their student activity account in order to pay for things in the student activity fund.
Move favorable.
Motion by Aldo, second by Jack. All those in favor? Unanimous. Article 7, this, once again, is for the school committee. It is being able to move the money from the PEG Access Fund. This is the money that, the small amounts that are collected by Comcast or Verizon, and allows them to be able to expend that money.
Whoa.
Second.
Clarification. Comcast PEG money?
Comcast, it's the PEG Access
That went
money.
to the town. Why is
It's
this-
for their studio up in, there's 2 different ones. This is the one that goes for the school's
this is-
video
this is-
production.
It's the school in the town.
This is the one for Jeremy Folster and the video department up at the high
I
school.
mean, I have 2 of these on my Verizon bill if I get Verizon?
No, it's just this amount goes to the school, because we have the 2 studios.
Should we move that this go to the sponsor, because it's a school committee one?
Yes, I don't, how much money are we talking here? Does anybody know?
We have no
I don't know if
control over spending.
Just a $5,600.
$5,600?
I believe so. About.
I'll move favorable, let's go. If it's only 5,600, I know it's, but I thought it was, the whole PEG thing with cable bills and everything gets so convoluted, you know, if you open your Comcast bill, you just want to choke at trying to figure it out, so it's fine, let's go.
Motion by Jerry, second by Jeff. All those in favor?
Thank you, by the way.
Favorable recommendation?
Thank you.
Thanks. Son. Article 19.
I'm on overtime now, guys, I'm leaving.
19, where am I? Oh, no, Article 19 is a liquor and malt license. In the past, we usually referred to the selectmen on this because they are the designated authority on liquor licenses.
Excuse me, this is sponsored by Canvas and Cup LLC?
That's why I don't want to refer to sponsor. I'd rather
Second.
refer to the selectmen. They give out the liquor
I move we
licenses.
refer to sponsor.
I would move we refer.
No, don't refer to sponsor.
Not refer.
Yeah, I don't want
I
to.
withdraw the motion.
Take this up at another time, just pass over this.
Okay, yep, no problem.
Anybody have an objection to that?
No, I said if anyone had an issue.
Can I ask Mr. Tenero a question? This is, another liquor license is good for the town, in your
Yeah.
opinion, right?
Yeah, because they have to pay an annual fee.
And we also make money on the,
Excuse me.
Make money on the license.
That's why I didn't want to refer to sponsor, because the sponsor is them. I wanted to refer to the selectmen, who they are the ones
Yeah.
that actually designate the
And the
license.
profit is the annual fee, nothing else.
I like that idea.
But if you have any questions, like I said,
If the selectmen are okay with it, then we could go along with it, but I agree with you, I don't wanna hang my hat on the sponsor.
No, I agree.
Let's bounce
Do I
this
have a
back.
motion to refer to the selectmen on this article?
Motion.
Motion by Jack, second by Jeff to refer to the selectmen on Article 19.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Jeff.
We can do 23.
Article 20, the police chief, this is about changing, about abandoned motor vehicles. Does anyone have any questions about, that they need the chief to come in and talk about?
Could you explain it a little bit? I'm sorry.
It's, I'll read it. To see if the town can vote to rescind the acceptance of general laws, chapter 90, section 22B, subsections B through K, concerning the non-criminal penalties and disposition of abandoned motor vehicles, as adopted by Article 4 at the special town meeting on March 5th, 1990, or to take any other action in relation thereto.
Chris, I think they should
Yep.
refer in real simple language, it's gonna allow the police to immediately remove abandoned vehicles.
Thank you.
Where before they had to go through a process through the courts, so this will allow us to better remove.
Thanks, Rick, because I had no idea.
Move favorable.
It's probably a little more complicated than that.
To refer to sponsor.
Yeah, I'd like
Or do
to
you-
hear it from the
I refer to sponsor, there's no money involved.
Okay. I have a motion by,
Can we move favor or move on, or do we need to have him come in and explain it?
no, we refer to sponsor. You can, I mean, I can have him come in if you want, Jerry, but
Doesn't seem to have any financial impact, so I'm okay with making my motion to refer to sponsor.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Motion by refer to sponsor, by Mike, second by Jeff, to refer to sponsor, yep.
It'll probably be explained at the town meeting by the sponsor, so I really don't think it's necessary for the chief to come in.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating he come in, I'm just advocating we're in support of him doing this. But if we refer to sponsor, that's okay.
Yeah, let them explain the.
I don't wanna get in, that's fine.
Article 21 is a article by the planning board. It is, we're still talking about signs.
Let's have him come in on that, please.
Okey dokey.
I don't,
All right, Article 21, we're gonna table for another meeting.
23 we can take care of, can't we?
No, because I don't know the amount from Scott. And God forbid if it's not done
We
snowing.
don't really have any choice, do we?
We don't, but I would,
Okay.
I'd rather than a snow and ice.
All right, so right now, they're over by 175,000. So that's the preliminary number right now, which, as we know, could change, but right now, they're in excess of.
And does Bruce Schwegler think it's gonna snow again before
I know.
town meeting?
I watch Harvey Lennon, so I don't know what Bruce has to say.
Not in April yet.
No, I was showing my age. So if it's okay, I would prefer till we get the
That's fine.
final snow and ice budget
That's
before we do
good.
that. So those are the ones that I identified as we wouldn't really need to talk to anyone. If anyone else sees anyone on there that you'd like to bring up that wouldn't have any discussion, I'd be happy to,
Halfway through.
yeah.
We can do 9 and 10, I know about those.
Okay, let's take a look and see what's going on.
Unless you want them to come in.
Once again, if anyone on here wants somebody to come in, but if we can peck it off and get rid of it,
Can we, we're having a meeting with Tuesday with Mr. Chaky. Won't that come up at the meeting?
It's up to you, but I mean, I know the story with that, with both of those, you know, so, but whatever you wanna do. So Article 9, you know, the chief's car, we had a car that was totaled, that got broadside and got totaled. And typically this car was coming up for the October town meeting, but because it was totaled and it can't be repaired, they moved it forward to get it now, so because not only as it was for October, they put it now because they're gonna see a price increase. It has to be replaced. So it's
It
gonna
has to be replaced, it has to be
Has
replaced.
to be
So let's
replaced. So
just,
it
let's
just
just,
came- so it
let's
just
just move
came
on.
forward.
I
and
don't,
also, to be honest with you, it was on the next town meeting after that.
For
It was
October, right.
scheduled, so that was the other reason.
It just got moved
Mr.
forward.
Aldo's the chairman of that committee now, right, Aldo?
Yeah, as of last week.
Yeah.
This came through the capital subcommittee, that's why I know about it, so that's why.
What do you wanna do? You're the chairman of the committee.
Oh, I have no problem at all. If the fire chief says it's been, if they can't drive it,
Okay.
Yeah, they can't drive it, it's
so
told.
let's get one that they can get it.
I'm just trying to be respectful of you as the chairman, to give you an
That's
opportunity.
fine, I appreciate that.
Move favorable.
Motion by Jack for favorable recommendation, second by Jerry. Any other discussion? All right, well, thanks, Jeff, you knocked another one off.
I can talk Article 10 also.
All right, we'll try doing
Again,
that.
again, through capital, in respect to Joyce is not here as the chairman of that committee, but the same thing in 2006 vehicle did not pass, 2006 vehicle did not pass inspection. It's like $12,000 just to make the repairs to it, and still not guarantee it's gonna pass inspection, is to replace that vehicle for the.
This is a second vehicle
We just
that
gave him a
didn't
new
pass
vehicle
inspection.
last year.
this
We
is-
pulled
this
that
is-
one ahead.
This is for ASM, for the, not the commissioner, what's it?
We
Director.
Park director, it's for the director, it's part of
We
this.
pulled the vehicle ahead last year, 1 year earlier than was anticipated. Now you're gonna ask for another one pull ahead.
I'd like to table this.
I'd like to
I'm gonna
table this for
have
further
the
discussion.
Parks tomorrow come in, because I'm not
Let's
gonna,
have.
I don't want Jeff answering questions that we can direct
Joyce,
to somebody else.
I think what we need to do, it seems as if we reach an emergency state every year with some of these departments. So could we get something from them so we don't all wake up one day and find out everything's 30 years old?
Yeah, well,
Well,
the capital subcommittee does have that.
Excellent.
I'll make sure that they pass that along to the rest of us, because I know that they have that.
They should give us an assessment of the,
Yep.
To
the,
Aldo's
what's
point,
the expected life, what's the life expectancy?
Aldo's point, the 5-year plan for the parks was not complete until, so now Mr. Asm is in as the, he's putting a 5-year plan with more detail in it that wasn't in place before, so that's, in fairness to him. But, yeah, have him come in and explain this, but I mean,
I would
this
actually-
is necessary.
I appreciate you trying to knock another one off.
I would actually ask for a car inventory report from any department asking for a new vehicle.
Mr. Chase,
Because every
Mr. Chase
year
has asked for,
we ask for
let's have a
this.
complete inventory of what's out there, what's on the road. Age, mileage, and
Life expectancy.
Yep. All right, I have a notation to talk to the capital department about making sure that they get that from department heads. Not doing anything. All right, so I think that pretty much addresses a lot of the articles, like I said, to not make people come in and not make us spend any time, because we are gonna be so busy with some of the other articles. So I'm glad we could knock those off.
it's overdue from a hot date.
All right.
You want Fox to come in, Mr. Chairman?
They'll definitely come in for that truck. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
I think we need a motion to adjourn.
Can we just wait for a second? Do we have a quorum? Did he just leave?
He just left.
Can you please?
I think he said he was 15 minutes overdue for another appointment.
All right, well, I'll talk while he's coming back. To be honest with you, the submitted budget that's on the agenda, can you just come in and just let us adjourn it? Yep. I'm gonna talk quick. Submitted budgets, most of the departments have submitted their budgets. Please get them from the finance department, or please go on the drive to get them, or get them from your subcommittee, because most of them are on there, okay? Take a look, most of them are in line, there are a couple that aren't, but obviously, please start looking at those, because we're gonna start hammering those out next meeting. We won't do old business, Jerry's gotta go, so.
We adjourn.
Motion by Jack to adjourn, second by Jeff. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you and have a good night.
Good night, guys.